In this final part of the buying guide, I'm going to offer a few pointers on buying a new or used narrowboat, as well as some important tips on insurance, particularly for overseas owners, and for mooring. Let's start with new builds. A new boat is probably going to be one of the biggest purchases you're likely to make in your lifetime, so you want to be sure you do it carefully and not rushed. Prices vary tremendously. For example, a new electric narrowboat from a reputable builder can easily cost between £250,000 and £350,000. A new diesel boat can be in the range of £180,000 to £250,000. And just like building a new home, having a new boat built to your requirements is both complicated and risky. Fortunately, there are ways for you to minimise your risk. And of course, there are good and bad builders. Figuring out which is a very important part of your due diligence. I recommend you start looking for a builder who is a member of the British Marine Federation. These builders must adhere to a set of standards, and if you have problems with the Federation, can potentially be helpful. Additionally, you want to use the BMF boat build contracts to ensure that when you make a staged payment to the builder, the title of the asset that you're paying for is transferred into your name at that time. This helps protect your investment in case the builder were to go bankrupt in the middle of the build. You also want to dig deeply into the builder's warranty period and understand if the builder will undertake all the repairs and over what period. Each builder has a number of build slots. This is an industry term for the date at which your first payment becomes due and they start on your build. How much is owed at each stage of the build varies by builder, and you're typically going to be required to make a deposit for holding your build slot. I recommend you shortlist 2 or 3 reputable builders and arrange to meet each one to see how well your personalities work together. Ask for a full list of new boats built over the last 2 years. This tells you how many boats they're building each year and gives you the opportunity of doing your own research on some of those builds. You can ask for the names of the owners and if you can contact them. A reputable builder is happy for you to talk with any of their customers. Ideally, you want to speak to owners who have had their boats for more than 1 year. This is because many of the issues that come up with any build happen in that first year, and you want to understand how well the builder went about fixing those problems. Also, new owners can be a little reluctant to talk because they're reliant upon the builder providing service and support to help them overcome those snagging issues. So they're perhaps less likely to say anything that there's an issue. And to be clear, every new build has issues. It's not a question of whether there were any snagging issues, it's more a question of how well did the builder fix them. Also, ask to see documentation that's included in the build. Your documentation should include a very detailed list of all the components fitted into the boat, including the manufacturer, model, and any warranty that's transferred to the owner. Components can be something as small as the shower gulper pump or the water pump. These are all essential items and you need to know what the model is, who made it, how long the warranty is. You should also have instructions about how you can access these things should they need replacing. Details of the shell, that is the boat's steel hull, including who manufactures it, and the thickness and grade of the steel used in the base plate, sides and top, should form a complete set of blueprints with dimensions. There should also be a set of construction blueprints for the fit out, that's everything fitted inside the shell, with dimensions and detailed wiring and plumbing diagrams, clearly labelling every circuit. Go to look at some recent builds yourself. Are all the electric circuits clearly labelled? Is the wiring neat and easy to understand? Do all the circuits have breakers? And do all the power supply circuits have isolation switches? These are all requirements of the recreational craft regulations that dictate the standards to which a new boat should be built. As a final part of your due diligence, check Companies House for the financial records of your preferred builder. How stable is the company? You can also ask the builder for a copy of their accounts. Go over the warranty period. How robust is the warranty offered by the builder? Does it specify who covers travel and other costs that might be associated with fixing defects, such as the cost of lifting the boat out of the water? Another example you might have is if there's a problem with the propulsion, you don't want to be stuck in the middle between the builder claiming it's a motor supplier's fault and the motor supplier saying the builder installed their motor incorrectly. You want it to be very clear that it is the builder's responsibility to fix all problems. Every new build has snagging issues. You will need to document and report all issues to the builder in writing as soon as they occur. And your contract should clearly state the procedure for dealing with these defects, including how quickly will they be fixed. I recommend you engage a marine lawyer familiar with new build contracts to review your contracts and even act as your agent with the builder to manage staged payments. For a new build, this is a small outlay, typically around £2,000 to £3,000. I've heard of way too many stories of boaters who lost their deposit and even staged payments when a builder went bankrupt or something went wrong with the build and they had to pull out of the build. The recreational craft regulations are designed to protect you and ensure your craft is built to a minimum set of safety standards. I do recommend you become familiar with these regulations while your boat is being built or even before. This will help you spot potential aspects of the build which may be in violation of the regulations. For example, our boat did not have the required number of fire extinguishers when it was delivered. We didn't discover this until we actually read the recreational craft regulations. Finally, arrange for an independent surveyor familiar with the regulations to inspect your build at each stage for recreational craft regulation compliance before making the next payment. Getting a pre-owned boat in many respects is much simpler. You get what you can see and survey. And just like anything pre-owned, it will come with its own set of challenges. You can get familiar with the market values for used boats by looking at online marketplaces like Apollo Duck. Prices vary tremendously, often based on who the builder is, how old the boat is, what kind of propulsion it has, how well it's fitted out, etc. Electric boats are still very rare on the used market, so you may actually have to pay a premium for a good electric narrowboat. While it's okay to buy a boat privately, buying newer, more expensive boats through a reputable broker helps protect your money through the purchasing process and helps to ensure that you're going to receive the correct paperwork. When you find your ideal boat, arrange for a professional survey from a reputable surveyor of your choosing, not one of the seller's choosing. They will help ensure the hull is sound and that the rest of the boat is free from major defects. You will need to see some proof of ownership from the seller, and you'll need to get details of who fabricated the shell. You should also look for the builder's certification plate, which should be in the boat. This provides details of the build, and you may need the number for insurance. A relatively new boat, that's one that's less than 4 years old, should have a valid RCD certificate from the builder. Otherwise, you will need a recent BSS certificate to validate the safety of the boat. Insurance is a big challenge for overseas owners. When you dig into the small print, 90% of narrowboat insurance policies in the UK exclude anyone non-resident in the UK. Residency is a very specific term, typically determined by the Inland Revenue's statutory residency test. Always get a written confirmation from your insurance underwriter that you are covered by the policy as an overseas resident and that it states your overseas address in the policy. VLOS is the only company I have found that is currently insuring non-UK residents, and they will only do this if your boat is registered on the UK Ships Register. This applies to US residents. It may vary by country of residency. To get a registration, you must have a weights and measures survey done, which determines the tonnage of your boat for the registry. You will need to mark the tonnage and the registration number on both sides of the boat and the name and home port on the stern. Finally, a quick word about storing your boat over winter or whenever you're not able to cruise. A marina mooring can give you peace of mind if you're away for longer periods. I like to look for a secure marina that's on a canal and not a river that might be susceptible to flooding. I prefer marinas with on-site staff who are always around to keep an eye on the boats. A strong phone signal also means you can monitor your boat 24/7 from thousands of miles away. Some marinas have better signals than others. Some people prefer to pull their boat out onto a hard standing for the winter, essentially putting it up on blocks. The total cost is actually similar to staying afloat in the marina, and you arguably have less risk from changing water levels and ice. However, it often means you have no electricity and can't monitor the boat remotely. Personally, I like the added security of being able to see my boat remotely, and also it's much more convenient when coming back to the boat to get out onto the canals. If you're considering continuous cruising instead of a marina, bear in mind the CRT expects you to undertake bona fide navigation of the network on a continuous basis, not simply moor up in one place for 6 months and then move for the remainder of the year. Okay, well that's it for now. If you've enjoyed this guide, please like and subscribe to our channel. It is of course free. And if you'd like to help preserve the UK canal network for future generations, do please consider making a donation to the Inland Waterways Association or the Canal and Rivers Trust. Links are available in the description for this episode and on our channel. Thank you very much. Happy cruising. I'm Nigel, a British-American expat from Sunderland. My wife and fellow boater Sue hails from Boston, Massachusetts. Along with our faithful companion sheepums, we're travelling the UK canals in our electric-powered 60-foot narrowboat, Tethys. Follow along with us as we explore the canal network's many engineering marvels and discover the new places to visit just off the towpath. Each year, we visit the UK for just under 6 months and record our adventures. We love our life as Narrowboat Expats, and through these videos we hope you'll get to experience just a touch of the joy, the narrowboat lifestyle, the relaxed pace of life and the beautiful countryside brings to us. The Narrowboat Expat series follows our adventures as we go from buying a boat to exploring the canals and all the wonderful people and places